So we've tested transferring inkjet photos onto canvas. The question now is, will it work using a laser printer and only some acrylic paint? We are about to find out and try and make a beautiful mixed media piece that you can attempt yourself at home. Stick around until the end to see how this piece turns out. We are also going to try a couple of other crazy techniques. I've only tried photo transferring only once. That was an image that I printed from my inkjet and it worked beautifully. I received some comments that for some of you it worked, for some of you it didn't. And I thought that why don't we try how the laser printer image will transfer just using paint? Because the whole fun was that I used regular paint and it worked. Well, let's call it part 2, the second part of the experiment. How will laser printer image plus paint work on the canvas? Are you ready? We've got a nice premium canvas today, but I did paint it green before and now I've covered it with white and I'm ready. I do have some images. I was only looking for royalty-free images and I've got a couple of ladies, everyday photos of ladies. I might go with the redhead lady, but if I find the name of a photographer, I'm going to include it in the comments. So far I couldn't find it, but I'll try again. I'll try. So I'm not going to use the whole lady. Also, of course, I'm not printing the whole page. So right now I'm going to rip what I want. Why am I not cutting using scissors? Because it will look quite unnatural. I'm curious. I'm as curious as you are, because of course I didn't try it before. If I tried it, I would find it boring. So well, I know that my inkjet printer image worked. This is laser printer. Well, I think it should work. I'm going to say what I said last time. Of course, the best thing would be using an image of a family member or your loved one. Now, thinking about it, I don't know if I want this shirt or not. Bear in mind that it's going to be reversed because we have to put it this way. So if you want the ink to transfer, we want to flip the image. Yes, I've decided to put her quite high and now I am only marking the place where I want to apply paint just to be sure that everything is coated. Alright, now white paint, regular acrylic paint, nothing else. I'm super excited and I'm wondering, will it work as well as the previous one or not? And I don't have the other one anymore, it's in America now. One thing, you have to be sure that it doesn't dry out, yes? I'm going to put a little bit more, just to be on the safe side. Make sure all the edges are stuck well, and I'm going to leave her to dry till tomorrow. I'm going to do this. Next day, well, can't tell anything at the moment. I'm going to spray it with water. Exactly the same I did with the inkjet print. Okay, see the lady. I'm going to leave it a little bit. I want the water to get really through and then I'll start removing the paper layer. I think I've soaked it almost too much. Well, okay. Oh. Good so far. And the white patches are from me touching the image with a little bit of paint. You know, I had some dirty hands with paint on, so you can see the marks. Okay, we've got this layer. Trying to be careful. So this is the first layer coming off, and now we've got some more. All right. Oh my goodness, I think it's going to work. I mean, it is working. What am I saying? It is working. Okay, I'm going to take off the first layer and then gently. I don't think it was necessary to put so much water on it. You know what it reminds me of? Maybe that's not the best and not the most pleasant feel, but sometimes when you get quite a sunburn and when your skin is peeling off later on, that's what it reminds me of. and no pain involved. My first impression is that the other peel was easier. I don't know if you remember, but when I was taking bigger chunks of paper, let me try here, I could see the image sort of transferred onto that, even onto them, which was interesting. Here, not at all, as if this image is sort of more stuck to the canvas. I don't know, it's a little bit harder separating the second layer, a little bit harder, but not, I mean, I'm doing it very gently, rubbing off. But that reminds me more of the transfer medium. When we do an image transfer with a proper medium, that was the feel, that there's a film, then you have to rub off, and then the rest comes off. The inkjet printer, that was like almost, I don't know, I peeled off the huge sections. So we'll see the final result and then I can compare. Now I've got a little bit more experience with this one, so I can tell you that all of the paper comes off, and I rubbed pretty hard on these sections because I didn't worry too much. I even made some, like, you know, scratches here. You can see all of it comes off. I see that section. It's clean, nothing here, but it's a bit more like matte. You know, when you've got this glossy lipstick or matte lipstick is kind of all I can think of. And it does require more scrubbing, absolutely, as you can see. So it transferred well. After all, it did transfer well. Again, comparing the two, for me, the inkjet worked a little bit quicker, more efficient. And once I peeled everything off, we didn't have any fluffy bits, and the image was more crisp. Both work, let's just say that, but the inkjet for me was more efficient. I dried it with a hairdryer. It looks like this. I must say, personally, I love the effect, but I know what will happen once I put Mod Podge on. We'll see her clearly. I do like her behind the mist, sort of in the mist. And also, this is more sort of painterly than just an image transfer. That's why I like it so much. She does look painted. So without further ado, I need to actually protect it with Mod Podge, so I'm going to do it. Also at this stage, I could paint her with a brush in various places, and I could change whatever I want to change. I could add some highlights, shadows, change the color of the lips, the hair. We could also use varnish. I didn't remove any more because I wanted her to look distressed. I actually personally like that look, and I also was planning to make the whole canvas distressed, so for me that's fine. Now I'm going to paint her a little bit to make her look well, painted. So what do we have? We've got processed magenta, very small amount of yellow ochre, and I'm trying to get a skin tone that I will be happy with, and also that will match her. She's very pale and she's red-headed. I'm playing with the image now. Adding some shadows, making the eyebrows a little bit darker perhaps. I can also introduce that color to the hair. I'm trying to own the image. That's that's the word. The more I change, the more I will feel that she's kind of mine, you know. Well, she's mine, but I am going to focus a little bit on the eyeshadow. I want to change her lips a little bit. I'm going to add red instead of pink, and yellow ochre, just a little bit more red. Okay, I think I'm happy with the color. Let's leave it alone. I did not expect that I would be just painting on an image. I had no idea, but I just painted most of her. Blonde hair. She was supposed to be very fair with some ginger highlights. I will be experimenting with the background. This is all dry. I varnished her. It's a satin varnish. The idea was that if anything goes wrong, I can wipe it off. I'm going to use palette knife, but I'm also going to use this. That's a card I haven't used for ages. If you don't have a palette knife, that's a great alternative. Titanium white. Let's just make some preparation. I'm going to put all the blobs here. It's going to be easier for me to paint like this. A bit of gold as well, just to get some nice beige in the background. Maybe even red. since I've got it. Okay, let's spread it first. First layer doesn't really matter. It's good to have a few palette knives so we don't have to clean one constantly. I will do some blending first. And yes, of course, I will be getting onto her hair. That's inevitable and I would say desirable. I got some gold on my palette. I really like this pink next to her neck. Kind of looks really cool. But I don't know if I want so much pink. So look, that lightens it up. Okay, so I am happily spreading more. And then see what else we can add here. We can add whatever we want, you know. I mixed my pink blush with some gold and I've got this creamy beigey color. And I'm making lines going this way. I'm hoping it's going to work well with the card. Okay, so we do this. Can you imagine a piece of mine without my favorite signature texture piece? Now this time I don't want a small section, I want a streak of this going down. So it's going to be different. If you think I may be going a bit too fast or would like me to go into more detail on the whole process, you can find extended versions of my tutorials each week on Patreon. Nice. Still have a little bit, so let me use it somewhere else. Small amount goes a long way. I also wanted some brown here. And then once this is dry, I'm going to apply a little bit of white. Now this is how I'm adding a little bit more spice to the color. I want to try something totally crazy. When you see it, I don't know. I just had this idea and I can't stop thinking about it. So let's see if it's going to work or not at all. I need to make it a little bit thicker. This is my pouring paint. So this is magenta. I'm adding pearl pink to make the paint thicker. Of course, it's going to be a little bit lighter. I should add a bit of this peachy color as well. Not much, just in case it completely changes my pink. Okay, it's getting thicker. I bet you were not prepared for this. Ta-da! We can make marks with any tools. And I thought, why don't we paint a rose with a rose? No idea if it's going to work. I might regret it, of course, but I can't help trying. Okay, so I'm going to dip it. Or maybe should I paint some of the petals? I don't know. Let's try paint the ones that are further. So I get some... Oh, poor rose. And now let's dip it. Ooh. Okay. What is going to happen? Some petals are getting more paints. Ah, look at this. Somewhere here. Ding. How much should I press? I don't know. That's maybe not what I expected, but I can work with it. Wiping it off, just so that you know, a few minutes later, there you go. Washed and back in it. Did you have fun? I did. I concluded it's going to be safer for me to use more traditional methods. I've got alizarin crimson here. I'm not 100% sure if I want to use palette knife or brush or both maybe. This is ultramarine and I have some cadmium yellow. So you can see me starting this rose here, but I'm going to redo it later on. So I'm skipping directly onto the second one. I want another one somewhere here. I'm doing this. Look, we can use a finger just to go around, get the right shape, and then we can proceed from there. A little bit darker in the middle. Can I paint with my finger? Yes, I can. But I'm going to use palette knife now. I only wanted to make sure that the rose is going this way. Maybe on this one I can even use a little bit of magenta. Not much of a difference. Probably need a bit more. Now we are turning this way. And of course I want it much bigger. Much bigger. This paint is really runny. Kind of almost struggling here. I'm trying some drips. That's better. Oh, that's so thick. You know how I like some splatter. By the way, this piece is for sale on my website, along with quite a few of my older pieces. Head over to abcreativeofficial.com if you would like to own an original for yourself. Yeah, I destroyed half of the rose on purpose. I scraped it off, so I wanted to create more of a distorted image. I'm kind of liking this. But now there's still something, I was trying to scrape this part as well, just like that. I think it's just too light, too pinky, too bubbly gummy. That's the part I don't like. So I'm going to change it. I've concluded I'm going to go to the garden for a couple of minutes. I'm going to spray paint the top. I'll try to keep her face intact. Maybe with grey. I've got this grey primer. I like to see some more tone. This is too babyish for me. That's it. Nothing elaborate. Look, I just covered her face. That's it. The rest, yeah, I can experiment with some colors now. Oh, now I'm getting excited again. All I will do is spray a little bit around. Well, let's see what we've got now. You see the splatter from the pink? Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm liking it much more. For some reason, I want to see even more contrast. This is Posca pen. This is black. I want to see what will happen if we've got some black here. And I know the black is too black. I know it. I know the black is too black, and I am going to go over, but I needed to see that contrast. Okay, now once I've got this black, I can mix something into it to tone it down. Touch of gold and see what happens. Okay, now I got something like the background here. I think it's going to look better like this. Due to popular demand, I am going to use my stencil. So this was the one I used on the green lady. And thank you so much for all the love you've given my lady, your wonderful comments. I really, really appreciate them. Even though I can't answer all of them, I do read them. Thank you so much. I'm not going to use the same one, and I'm going to use my gold. Why am I using a stencil? I'm not using a brush. I'm going to use a palette knife. There's a reason. If I use a brush, I could use one of those flat brushes. That would be very nice, and actually probably the easiest. But I do want some texture. My roses are textured. Some of the background is textured. I do want a 3D effect. I know it's going to be harder, but we can do it. Are we ready? Might go with the small one to be more precise. I can remove it later, you know. So I remember with the previous one I put a bit too much. I could have mixed it with heavy gesso, but I wanted as gold as possible. And heavy gesso would make it much lighter. Maybe it doesn't make any sense doing the circle here on her arm, because it should be behind her. But I don't know, for some reason I just wanted to see what it would look like if I go, you know, so far. Oh my goodness, I don't want it to be messed up. Okay, went way better than the previous one. I tested it, I don't like it. Goes away. You see, that's the beauty of dry background. I knew I probably wouldn't like it, but I couldn't resist. Got out my huge bag of useful things and came across this time this lace with the roses. This is perfect for her. But I think I'm going to try and cut the flowers out. This will take me some time. Yes, look at that. Look at the beauties. Oh, that actually seems not bad this way. I'm going to glue them down and then I'm going to do something with this rose. Perhaps I'll add different flowers or maybe I'll redo the rose. I haven't decided yet. I hope I managed to convince lots of you that mixed media is so much fun. You kind of play with your materials, play with your, what did I say, rubbish bits. Play with whatever you can find and see if it's suitable for your painting. Okay. Ooh. How was it? I'm going to use some baking paper. Yeah. Because I know this will not get stuck to it. Look. A little embellishment just for my personal fun. I also found this, so I suppose I could glue that. Now if I start doing such strange things, it means I'm enjoying myself too much. I don't want to finish. I'm hoping that those little shiny bits will stay. Very gentle. I wish I had a much shorter palette knife. You know what I mean? Because I just want to touch it here without getting onto this side. I'm just going to go over those sections. I wanted to add a couple of oxy-daisies or something like that in a couple of places. I added some gold, white and gold, some at an angle, some straighter. Yeah, I want them a bit blended here. And a couple there. And I think this is going to be finished. There's a lot happening here. Naples yellow. The side ones, obviously, they won't have any yellow inside because we can't see that. So once the flowers are finished, I'm going to sign the painting and we're done. I don't know, for reasons unknown, this one took me absolutely the longest ever. The premiere is tomorrow and I'm still finishing it, so it was a labor of love, definitely. Not because it was so complex, it's because it just things didn't sit with me well. I know how some of you really like the nail caviar. Maybe I'll direct them gently. I think this will probably work best. Well, there we are. If you enjoyed and stuck around until the end here, please let me know by using the word caviar in your comments and I will try to give them a heart. If you're looking for more content and would like to help support the channel, you can find extended versions of my tutorials and stencils on my Patreon, and this piece is available for sale now on my website. Thank you all so much for watching and see you next Saturday. Bye bye!